Hi, today I am going to show you how you can complete spirit art while you complete a mediumship reading. And you don't even have to be an artist to do it. Stay tuned. All right, so whenever I do spirit art with mediumship, I first get information about the loved one who has crossed over for the client, just to get memories, the things that they liked, the things that they didn't like, or if whatever they want to tell me that something about them. And then I start drawing a likeness of what they used to look like. And they walk me through what they want their hair to look like, what their eye color was, and a lot of times they're much younger. Some people, a lot of spirit artists will draw them when they're older because they had such a long life and they were older when they passed away. But for some reason, for me, they always want to come across as being younger. So I'm going to show you how I was able to draw spirit. Now, I did not have a client with me. So I went ahead because, we're surrounded by spirits all the time. So I went ahead and called a spirit and say, all right, whoever wants me to draw you and also tell you the story of your life, come forward and let me do it. So let's watch and see what comes out of this. First off, I always use a sketch to begin with. It can be either a female or a male that I draw. Then I write down the information of what I am getting from the loved one who has crossed over. All right, the first thing I always do is I do their eyes first. And then I use a blending stick so that I can get the colors to blend in together. Now, this spirit was telling me that he had very dark brown eyes. And then I always use a very light pastel to for the first layer on the skin tone. And he was telling me that he had darker skin, so I was trying to make it darker because he was a rancher. He spent a lot of time outside, so he had kind of that brownish skin that you get whenever you sun damage from being out in the sun too much. To me, the nose is the hardest part of doing a face, and it just takes practice. And I still have a long way to go. At first on the sketch, it was a really tiny, tiny nose. Believe it or not, it was smaller than this one. And he kept telling me I had a pretty big nose. And usually when I do male lips, I try to not make it too red because, the men spirits are going, no, I didn't wear lipstick, some men spirits. So I try to make it more of a skin tone, enough to stand out, but not too red. And you can tell here I'm beginning to shape his face too, and more being masculine. And again, it's more of a likeness because whenever you do a portrait that is real to life, it takes so many hours to do. It just layer after layer after layer. But if the client wants it before they leave or during a reading, they want to see it being done. So I quickly do it as much as I can. But again, I always tell them it's more of a likeness. And again, he didn't have really a full beard, but he said I look kind of straggly because being a rancher. And so he wanted me to look like, show that he did have um, a darker feature on his chin area. Now, whenever I was doing his hair, at first he was showing me that as he got older, he began to get bald, and he did have that middle part bald, and on the two sides he had the hair. But as I went, he said, "Oh, go ahead and fill it in." And he said that he did when he was younger, he used to wear it all scraggly like that. And whenever I do a hair color, I always use 2 different colors so that you can see the different, hair tones. To me, it just makes it so much more dramatic, and then I use a blending tool to blend it together. You can also use fingernail polish remover. It will do basically the same thing, and see how it kinda darkens it? Um, and it kinda adds a lot of different texture to it. Again, I'm trying to make some of his skin to look more aged a little bit. And the ears are another, feature that I have difficulty with. So I still have a long way to work on, but I think you get the idea here. Now, after I do the drawing, I get a pastel color, chalk color, and they always tell me what they want in the background. And he wanted orange, like a sunset, like orange and some red in it and some yellow. And it just really makes them stand out. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to develop an Auragraph using the exact same information as we did to the likeness portrait. First of all, you need something to make a circle with. So, what I did is I started drawing him freehand, and it's not always that easy. And it was, to me, he was a little bit too small, so I decided to make him larger. And it's very difficult. The smaller that the person's face is, the smaller the details have to be. And when you make an autograph, you don't have to draw the person that you drew before. That's just an option that you have. And if you do draw the person's face, make sure that your pencils are sharpened. It makes it so much easier to get those fine details in there. When you're drawing freehand, again, it is very difficult to get those measurements right, especially when you're trying to do it in a rush. There I am making his skin darker. All right, so I decided to go ahead and use the same color, the sunset that he wanted to be in front of on the previous picture. Then what I was really being pulled to is to go ahead and do the chalk, the surrounding the rest of the circle in green because he was a rancher and that's where he felt the most comfortable. And so that's why I did most of the chalk, the circle with green. And then what I started to draw was a cow. And I don't know if you've tried to draw a cow before. so, so I went ahead and just drew the cow the best I could. But because cows were really important to him, I felt like it needed to be on there. And again, you don't have to be an artist to do this because, your client is not going to expect you to do top-notch drawing. And the more that you do it, the more drawing that you do, the easier that it does become. But it's almost like a muscle memory that you just have to do it over and over again. And intuitively it finally comes. So once I did the cow, I really felt like he needed a barn to represent the ranch, and the cows needed a place to go. I decided to go ahead and do more of the grass because had a great idea of what I wanted to add next. Because of this rancher really wanting to be alone a lot of times and be isolated, I thought, you know what? What better than to draw a fence to illustrate that? Because I feel like, fences are almost like barriers. It's kind of like you're trying to have a barrier between you and the world. And because he liked being on the ranch and really being by himself, I felt like the fence really illustrated this. And then whenever he was talking about his wife to me, I felt like it was really important to add them as a couple. I know that they're on the other side of the fence, but it's almost like while he wasn't with his cows, he was really, with his wife and really spending time with her. And throughout the relationship, it just kind of bloomed in his life. And that's the one person that he felt very comfortable with. So, really, to illustrate this love growing, I felt like I wanted to draw a vine with hearts. And that just shows that as he got older and as their marriage also got older in their relationship, that their love grew. And then I was really feeling okay because the barn is red and the hearts are red, and a lot of, love surrounded him. I really wanted to put the circle into a red color. And you can make anything of the frame. You can, add hearts if you wanted to, or any type of picture, But for some reason, I was really being pulled to writing down words and words that meant important to him. Whatever word came to mind, I wrote down around the circle on the outside. And I love this very end acceptance because his wife really accepted him as he was. And then I thought, it cannot be complete. We have to put a sun up above everything because that's what he really enjoyed is watching the sunsets and on his ranch. And that's where he had the most joy. So to me, suns really represent joyfulness, a part of your life. Hi, I hope that you have enjoyed this segment of learning how to do spirit art as you do mediumship. It is just a fun and creative way to give something to your client after their reading to be able to take home with them. Again, you don't have to be an artist to do this because every client that I have, they just love it. And they know that you don't have time to spend on this, especially when you're doing the reading. So, again, just be as creative as you can while you do your readings. Many blessings.